Good morning and welcome back to the Explicit Measures podcast with Tommy and Mike. Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Good morning, Mike.
Good
How you
morning.
doing?
Great. I'm doing well. I'm just kind of getting back in the routine of things. For those who are watching online, this is a pre-recorded episode, so just FYI about that one. For those who are just listening on Spotify or other social media platforms, it'll come out at its normal time. Also, I'll just kind of make a quick pitch here. If you would like to have the episodes as they are recorded, and also you'd like to listen to these episodes on YouTube with no advertisements, feel free to become a member. We have a couple tiered members. We're calling them our fabricators. That's our community of people. And the lowest level is Visualize This. And so when you join our Visualize This group, you can get all these episodes for free. And if they are pre-recorded, we will launch the videos as soon as they are recorded. So Tommy and I are noodling on some ideas here that might also entice you to come over to become members in the near future here as well. So that being said,
I like to visualize this an ode to a great movie.
Yes. Well, there's the different levels are Visualize This. That's like your entry level. Dax Master, that's your next level up, and then the Full Fabricator. So that's your final level, right? Awesome. All right, that being said, let's just jump into the episode. Tommy, today we're going to kind of skip news and other items just because it's kind of hard to do a pre-recorded one. We don't know what news is going to be coming out at the time of the episode. But any beat from the streets or any information that you've kind of have that you've been working on recently?
No beats from the streets, but I actually got something I just thought a little spice it up a little personal here. Mike, I'm a little miffed.
We didn't talk about this beforehand.
I know, this is going to be
interesting.
You're gonna like this. I'm a little miffed because since I've changed my background and professionalized, the studio here, You've never asked me about my bobblehead to I believe would be my left on the screen. So
yeah, sure.
And I don't know. Do you know who that is?
I don't. I mean, if it looks like a baseball something, or maybe Charlie Brown, I can't quite tell, but he needs a bigger shirt. Is all I can say.
Yes, he does. Well, he's a little fat, chubby kid, but he's also the best backyard baseball player ever. And it's from a computer game that I had when I was a kid. It's called Backyard Baseball. So I actually bought the thing on eBay because they only had it for like a minor league thing. But he was called the Secret Weapon. And he's a little kid named Pablo Sanchez. And it was probably my favorite computer game I ever played. But that made, as I was thinking, like, well, Mike never asked me. Well, I know Mike probably played a few computer games back in his day.
Oh, yes.
There's no way that you didn't. So I'm going to preface that with saying, Mike, what computer games were like your shining stars when you were a kid?
Oh man, that's a really good question. So when I was a kid, I remember really, really wanting a Nintendo was the original one. That's where I really wanted a Nintendo, and our family never got one, but we did get a Sega Genesis. So there's always like whenever I went to friends' houses and they had Nintendo, we would always play a lot of Nintendo games. It was a lot of Mario Brothers 2. Like that was, I think that growing up, that was like one of the big console memory games. Now, if you move over to PC, that was different. So we had PC for a little bit as well. I think some of the main games I remember playing was, I believe, Civilization was one that was like
the classic.
Very early versions of Civilization. Sid Meier's Civilization was really good. There was another game called Pirates that was again made by Sid Meier's. It was also really good. Really liked that one as well. I remember one time my dad and I got into this Civilization game and we were playing together, kind of like picking like what's the strategy, how do we move our pieces around. We really liked like the strategic. It's kind of like a risk game. It's like a turn-based game as well. So we're picking these things, and all of a sudden, like we look at the clock, we're like, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. We're like, oh my gosh, we better go to bed. It's like a weekend, but still, we need to go to sleep now. But we just kept playing and kept playing and kept going, and time would just stop. You would play the game and you would be so immersed in it, and you would just move you forward, and it was fun. So that was a good game. I remember we also had a Commodore 64 when I was really, really little. Wow. And I think there was one called George of the Jungle, I believe.
George of the Jungle.
And you were like this little character and you had to like these ropes were swinging and you had to like jump to catch the rope to go across the alligator and then catch the next. All those Commodore 64 games though were like extremely difficult. I remember very hard. But I think I probably spent the most time on Super Mario Brothers. Like it was the Super Mario stuff.
Yeah.
And then from the Sega Genesis, realm, it was all about the Sonic. So I did a lot of Sonic.
So, and those are all the classics for the console. So,
yeah,
you ever play those like StarCraft, the Blizzard games?
I did. I think I played World of Warcraft, the early versions, or Warcraft in general. Those ones I really liked. The Orc ones, the very early,
yes,
classic. I really liked those. The newer ones that they've done with World of Warcraft, not as good. And I mean, the World of Warcraft like 3D realm where you go in your character, you're playing this. I think it's really interesting. I just don't feel like I have the time to like put hundreds, if not thousands, of hours into this game and character and stuff.
That's the crazy thing.
I can't.
The crazy thing.
Right now, that's not my style. I kind of would like some retro games to be built like around more of that early day Warcraft, early day StarCraft, you know, build a base. And there's something, maybe you had this too, Tommy, but I liked the games that where I could like build a bunch of resources. And it was like on that edge of like, it's a little bit, almost a bit too difficult, but like if you just were patient and built enough things, you could like overwhelm the enemy and just build like a monstrosity or like, you know what I mean? Like you could almost like get to a point where like, okay, I got to be patient. I got to defend. I got to keep things together. And at some point you get to the point where you're so powerful. You're like, okay, now I can just go demolish the enemy. Right.
Like,
that I love that feeling. I love that feeling of being able to like stockpile, collect, grow, build. And at some point you were like large enough. You're like, okay, I'm just going to send the bombers over and we're just going to just bomb the side of their base and they can't do anything about it. Like that's
like, I ain't going to fight. I'm going to annihilate.
Yeah, it's exactly right. So I like to get into that point in those games. And I feel like a lot of the, you know, StarCraft, Command and Conquer was another one that I really liked. Command and Conquer was another one of those. And it was good for like the first couple beginning levels, and then it continually got progressively harder and harder and harder. I'm like, I don't want that. I just want bigger maps. I want more things to demolish. I want to be able to like just come in and just obliterate stuff.
More level up. Yeah, I want 1,000 Zergs coming at you, kind of thing. So I loved StarCraft. StarCraft was a great game until I started playing online. And you know, like that, I never was an online player because I never understood how people could be so good at a game, and I wasn't willing to devote my life to this. We would play like a game of StarCraft, like, all right, I'm going to do my annihilation. And in like 2 minutes, people are attacking me and I'm gone. I'm like, how did they get that?
How'd you do that?
Yeah. How did they do that? So you know what I used to play a lot? The Sims. Do you ever play that?
I did play The Sims, but not very long. It was not a very lengthy time for me to play The Sims. That one was interesting. I just didn't feel like it had much of a goal. Like I didn't like. I was like, I wanted like more of an. Again, I'm coming from all the strategy games, like dominate, destroy the base, like all these like very like. And you get to The Sims, you're like, go out to the bar or
go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Clean up the living room. I'm like, this is stuff I do already at home. I don't want to do this in a game. doesn't seem as effective for me.
But no, give me a simple game that I can master, or that still takes a little time to like. I don't have to have 18 manuals. It does take some patience to learn. That's a game I like. I don't need like, well, you're gonna have to like sell your liver if you want to be good at this, or you know, not see your children. And that's exactly what Backyard Baseball was. It was a perfect, simple game with a tournament and a season.
What was the early? There was like a football game, like a Blitz,
John Madden, or
NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz. That was just, I
didn't have that game, but my friends had that one. And that was one that was like, you would like body slam people. And like, it was like in crazy, like it was like WWE meets football kind of thing.
Oh, and their cheat codes, I can still tell you, it was 4A, 1B, 5Z for unlimited turbo.
There you go.
You just exactly that right before the game loads, and then you can have as much turbo as you want. I think that was right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyways, fun times.
So let me just, as we're doing this back on, we talked about our early childhood games. I'd be curious, Tommy, if you fast forwarded into college age, what was your game around college? Do you remember like the college? Was there a kind of game or a console thing that you did in college?
It was all multiplayer. And at that point, it was all like, since I lived with a bunch of guys, so it was like FIFA. It was FIFA, and we didn't really, and that's a game that will test friendship. If anyone has ever played that. Like, if you want to see how close you are to friends, I mean, the amount of controllers I broke and do after he would score is because they were wired controllers. And he would just dangle it in front of me after he scored. and just like make a face kind of thing. And to
Oh
this
my
day,
gosh.
as much as he's my best man, I still hate him for that. Like it's still like I still have just this hatred, this anger that's seething in me thinking about it.
That's hilarious. That's
What
funny.
about you? Did you have a game?
I did. I think in college, I consumed way too much Halo, and I was very focused
That's
on
the other
Halo.
classic, yeah.
So I remember getting, I mean, and that was like on the early Xbox. I had like the very first Xbox that came out. That was the original Halo, and then they kind of did like Halo 2 and Halo 3, and it kind of kept becoming like this sequence of games. I remember just being so motivated to get the next game as soon as it came out. Would get the game, go find it, bring it back home. We'd play it, and I would continue on the story. So that was a really fun game as well. Any games? So let's just fast forward to where you are today.
Yeah.
Do you play any games at all today?
I wish so. I wish I could go back to the Lego strategy games. There's the Jurassic Park one that looks amazing, but it's the time. Like I'll play Nintendo with the kids because those are actually pretty dang fun. Like they have the old, you can play the old N64 games. So like Zelda, or Ocarina of Time, Zelda 64. But the thing is, it's the time investment. I wish to this day my parents limited how much I played because I played too much. I think I played too much, and I think I would be such a better consultant, a better person if I didn't play as much as I did, especially the N64. So there's not a lot of games right now. Right now, it's all like with the family. I'm trying to get my wife to like just play me in Mario Kart. That's like, and part of me is like, so I could beat you, but like just play me in Mario Kart for a little, but nothing right now. Do you have time? Because, or is it the Legos? I feel like that would take up, that's kind of the strategic side for you to get that side of the brain.
Legos, I think, come out more around the holidays for me. That's like when I do all the Technic sets and collect those things. What I've been more recently into is I've been finding a lot of like space adventure games. So one of them has been Astroneer, which is one that's on my Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
And this is one where I've been able to get the kids involved with it. And then the other one that's kind of about more creative building, kind of adventuring a little bit is Minecraft as well. So we've been doing some Minecraft with the kids, which my son, when I introduced him to it, he was like all into it. And so we still do that a little bit. He has a Nintendo Switch. And so he got into like the Zelda series. I kind of showed him those, and the new games of Zelda are just incredible. Like it's nothing like you remember playing on the original Nintendo, but that one is super fun. I find that I kind of move myself more towards games that are more adventure, exploring, discovering things. And then also I do a lot less multiplayer games. I do a lot more like one player or like local collaborative kind of games, like working together collaboratively to like build something or create things or go explore things. I feel like those are much more interesting, and I can play at my skill level as opposed to like what you were saying. Like I couldn't do like Call of Duty anymore. Like there's just no point.
2 minutes.
I'd have to be playing like, the babies on the game because I'm just not good. And it gets so frustrating. And I just don't enjoy the game when I'm dying so quickly. And I don't want to spend the time to become good at it. I just want something that's like a leisurely playable game that's at my level, but I don't need to be at like ultra mega good levels.
2 games I wish I played. One I would never play because I'm too scared of it, but it sounded intriguing. The other one I don't have enough time. One it was called Alien Survivor, and it was the Alien series. But the kind of the whole hook of it was the alien learned from you on how you hid, and like you die, you die, but it would learn your tactics and then adapt to that, which I thought was pretty cool. But I'm too scared of that stuff. Jump scares, can't do it.
Nope.
The other one was this space game that every planet was generated in time, which I always thought was really neat. And I tried playing that, but like every planet was kind of weird, but the idea of that was incredible. Like the infinite universe, everything is computationally generated in time. So all the planets you go to, the people who made it never created that planet. And it's a full planet.
This is No Man's Sky.
Yes, that's the name of it. Yeah.
So I have that game. That's one of my space adventure games that I've gotten into.
Yes.
And I just started with my son. So I played it a while ago, kind of got into it a little bit. It was fun, super fun, enjoyed it. My son and I just got back into it, and we're now playing it again together. So I can start the world, he can show up, and then we kind of can adventure around together.
Keep me updated.
Yeah, it's a good game. I like that. That one's another one.
Let's
one
do a
that
monthly series on No Man's Sky because I want to hear
Right?
your updates on that.
We'll be playing it a little bit more recently. The other game that I have discovered that I haven't played yet is called Outer Wilds. Apparently, it's a really fun game, and the story is just very well crafted. It got a lot of awards. That's another space kind of adventure game that you. It's like you're stuck in a time loop. So you're like in this time loop where you can. I think it's like 22 minutes or 22 hours. Like it's a cycle. You have to explore and figure out why the time keeps looping, but you only have like a certain amount of time to go discover it, and then you have to like reset and go back over again. So like you get to a point and like it resets and you start over. Kind of interesting. So another kind of a fun, really well written story kind of game. So those are the kind of things I'm looking for.
I like it.
I will say this, Tommy. I was Googling Backyard Baseball because I never played that one.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can go get that game for $10 on Steam. You can still play it.
Oh, I would. It has to be the original though, because they made a lot of different versions of it.
This is Backyard Baseball 97.
I think that
might be it.
Okay, let me take a look at this Backyard Baseball.
You might. I mean, again, it's easy to sign up for Steam. You may want to check it out, but it seems like this is the game that you're looking for, and it would even support your Xbox controllers through your home computer. You might want to check that one out.
Oh, you don't even need a controller. Oh my gosh, that's it.
Is that it?
That's it. Yep. I can still play in my head. I still have the
there goes your day. I just ruined your day for you.
Yeah, it's a great game. Great game.
Okay.
Great game. So,
well, maybe I'll have to get it, and we'll have to commandeer. So
that one we can play online. That would be fun to play online.
So. The recent reviews, all reviews, is overwhelmingly positive, and the recent reviews is very positive. Yeah.
Again, Pablo, the secret weapon.
Exactly. I'm just saying, it's available. You might be able to go get it.
All right. Well, I guess I'm not. I'm going to tell my wife I'm doing something else today, but I'm going to be very busy.
There you go. Boom. I'm in meetings all day. Anyways, that should be super fun. Anyways, let's move over to our main topic. So our main topic today, Tom, you want to introduce us to our main topic, and then we'll go through our mailbag.
It is a mailbag, and it is a retort from someone about our conversations around subscriptions. Surprisingly, Mike, a lot of our mailbag inquiries that we get are around subscriptions. We've actually done more than I thought we would, especially in the last 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So very intriguing. So I'm going to go ahead and just read this, and then I think we'll go from there. Yep. And there is no name on here, which again, leave your name. We'll give a shout out to you. Even if we don't know who you are, we'll say your name, but we want to know who you are because we really do appreciate you guys sending out a mailbag. Again, powerbi.tips/podcast. You can leave any mailbag you want, and we'll probably talk about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And here we go. Why I'm sympathetic to Mike's defense of the Power BI platform to draw people into analysis and research. I lean apathetic when it comes to getting actionable insights into the hands of professionals who may not always need to be digging into Power BI reports. Here's a use case where the email subscription has been proven useful. We have a sales tool that contains the names of professionals you would want to contact to advance a sale. Periodically, and I love the wording here. I mean, this guy is clearly, or this person's clearly a smart person. Nope. It's not me.
Or ChatGPT or something.
Or ChatGPT, right? Yeah, touche. Those people leave the company, but the data source that records that departure is not directly accessible in the sales tool. I built a simple little report that compares the data in the sales tool with a data source with departure information. If the name in the sales tool pops up as departures, the report shows a big red number counting the number of departures. There are about a dozen different people who are responsible for updating the sales tool if one of their contacts changes. I set up an automated email subscription that sends them this report every Monday morning, showing the count of contacts who needs to be updated as none if there were no departures. The email shows the page with a metric and a list of departed names, if any, plus a link to the report. The report itself contains links and instructions if you need to update a name. Dead easy. You either see a red number or none, and you know whether you need to look deeper. This one little tool probably saves hours each week and is a reassuring reminder of our contacts are clean each week. And Mike, this levels the playing ground, or I think this provides a really good discussion for us because our background on this topic And again, we've talked about this a lot because you guys have been sending in some great questions around this. It's great. Email subscriptions had a place, but generally we want to bring people to the reports. And that's been our general consensus around email subscriptions. But now this person brings a really good use case here. And I'm going to hand it over to you. Does this, at least from the onset, your initial thoughts, your initial reaction, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel a little differently about your subscriptions or how we treat subscriptions?
Yeah, I think this conversation can go one of many different ways. I'm going to address maybe this mailbag question first, and then maybe we can take it a couple different directions off of this, right? When I look at emailed things, usually it's around, I need data to be, people are asking for, hey, look, I'm always in my email. I want it to just show up in my email. I need the Excel file, the CSV file, because I'm collecting this data on my own somewhere else and doing something with it. Understand? I understand the use case. I just disagree with it. And so let me unpack. So let me address this particular mailbag question directly, right? This is my mind. When I look at this, I go, what is the core issue here? The core issue is people are departing and the report is not showing that, right? So the issue is one of the systems is not correctly doing the updates. Now, this is probably because there's a sales system with sales representatives linking to customers, right? And so what we're doing is we're just updating things, right? This person has left the organization. They're no longer with us. Therefore, I have to go in and for these customers, remove that person. This whole system, to me, everything that's set up here is a workaround for a system that's not built properly. It's a system that doesn't talk to each other correctly, right? If someone leaves, there should be something automated in a way that says this person's leaving. There should be a task that's kicked off. Like these, what this is doing, this is building again, I'm not faulting this. This is not a fault. All I'm saying is, as an outsider looking at observationally at this solution, I'm looking at it and going, you have built a process that involves emailing people reports on Monday because something internal to your organization does not communicate. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong here. Like the issue is internally, their system does not update correctly. Therefore, we're building a separate process to fix the solution. Not a problem.
Now,
let me just pause there.
And this is going to get good real quick.
Yep.
Philosophically speaking, you're right. From a very high point of view, a bird's eye view, you're right. Nothing you said would be, I would say, is erroneous or I would disagree with. However, you and I both know more than anyone that's not how the real world works. And especially when you're doing, it's not just here that these two things are not communicating with each other. It's also people being responsible for their own contacts. We already are at least proven based on the message that one, this is already saving a ton of time. Now, if you went into here, would your first thing be, okay, we're going to make these two technologies talk to each other, boom, done. But to me, I think that's missing the point.
Yes and no, but I'm gonna at least ask the question, right? So again, I'm looking at this from an outsider's perspective, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason this thing is stood up. Someone is not letting someone have access to something. There's a problem. There's something broken in the process that's not letting it just to happen, right? So would I look at this and go, two systems just can't talk to each other? That could be an IT policy. That could be that's just the way it's not set up. The system that the salespeople could be in could be legacy and really old and not working, right? There could be a number of different factors as to why these two systems can't talk to each other. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this going like, okay, this is one of the reasons why Fabric exists. And now when I look at things like translytical task flows, this is another area where I'm like, you know what? I understand the purpose of printing the report here. But I would argue my argument would come back and say, okay, knowing that we have this system that doesn't necessarily correct together, Fabric is trying to address those kinds of solutions by actually making you have like the user data functions that can do that kind of stuff. Like so I would go back and ask the question, what can we do to enable these things to talk to each other? What would it might even be better to have when something in the system detects there's a problem, on a refresh of a data set, automatically having at the end of that refresh of the semantic model, run a UDF. Go into the data system, look for the mismatched users, go pull data from other systems, because the user data function can do all those things. It can access any system at all. So I'm looking at this going, the capabilities of Fabric extends more than just like a semantic model, a report. Now, let me just also pause here as well. I'm thinking immediately in the world of Fabric. This user may be in the world of just Power BI, and that also limits you a bit more there as well. So like if you're in the world of Power BI, and like I can see it and I understand. Let me say it this way. I have empathy for the situation. I would just push for a second set of eyes to step back and say, how can we solve this in a more automated way?
So what are you trying? My question is, what I'm trying to rack in my brain is, what are you trying to solve here? Because to me, the problem's solved, because there are three aspects here that we always think about, and it's not just the technology. And I think Fabric, to your point, would solve it, but it's the people and the process here. Mm-hmm. To me, what this is doing so eloquently, where I'm going to be on the other side of this argument here, is you have people owning the process and owning their contacts in a way that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. So yeah, maybe a technology can solve this, but that might not be solving the problem here. And you said we're trying to solve a problem. Well, what's the problem? Is it just the technology's not talking to each other? To me, it's making sure that people are responsible if people are departed or whatever that case is, their status, and making sure that the sales rep or those sales operation people are ensuring that that occurs. They may not have the technology that's knows what that status is unless that contact's actually doing it. There may not be the technology gap, but what we're actually doing here, and where I encourage, and where I would, if I was the data czar at this company, and I'm going to push for this 100%, is the fact that you sales rep are owning your contacts, and you have no excuse now every Monday to see what's going on with your sales, with your accounts and your people, or whoever that person is. I would rather, in any world, in any planet, on any company, make sure that people are aware of what they own and have accountability for that and have action to do it. Then technologies just solve it, especially if there's not 18,000 Excel files here. So for me, I'm looking at this in a different lens, maybe, because I don't necessarily disagree with you when it comes to the technology part of this. Where I would disagree on where's the problem. And again, for me, I look at this and I see that, you know what? Wow, people are owning and they're aware of what they own. And it sounds like everyone's gung ho and knows the expectation here. That's the point of Power BI. That's the point of what we do. It's not just a technology problem that we deal with. So I look at this and I say, this is phenomenal.
But why email it?
Okay, let's deal with that. So I mean, this is a good. No, this is good. This is.
But
good.
Why? But again, I'm going back to I understand it's a process, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, why isn't this report live every day? You know what? So I look at the process and I go, but why the email? Why is email need to be involved in any of this, for that matter? So I look at this thinking, okay, I set up an automated email subscription and sends it out every Monday. My guess is this happens so infrequently that it's not that big a deal. And that way Mondays are the right cadence to do this in. Fine. Mm-hmm. But with the event of we're working in Teams, we're working in Outlook. I mean, you can go to Outlook and you can have a Power BI report button on the right-hand side of the screen. So again, my argument would be what is the right trigger, signal, notification element that says you need to go do something, right? And I think the emailed subscriptions is a way of forcing someone to become, okay, but again, I'm just going back to I have so much noise in my email box already. I don't want another email. So here's how I'm going to take this.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say someone starts sending me reports every Monday and it goes in. What I'm going to do is going to be look, this is cluttering out my inbox. I'm going to set up a rule in my inbox and it's going to filter all those emails into a single folder. I'm going to let those folders pile up and I'm just going to go every so often, go look at that folder and go find those items in that folder. And even now today, that's what I do with my email. Email to me is just not a responsive real-time thing. What I think I would like to see would be an alert that's actually coming more, when the semantic model refreshes and we find that this person no longer exists, or there's someone missing, or someone has been deleted from a system, whatever that may be. Anytime there's someone like missing, I would expect it to send me a message in Teams as, go fix this. We did the refresh this morning, go fix it. And so why does it have to be every Monday? Do people not leave during the middle of the week? Do we not care if the sales representative leaves on a Thursday and we have a Friday of time where they're not attached to anything? I don't know if that's important to them. It sounds like the speed of their business is once a week is good enough. But that also might be like not good enough. And there could be other reasons to have this on real time. Back to your point, Tommy, right? It kind of goes back to what we're measuring, right? What is important on, the team that's managing these contacts, right? If this is data that they're expected to manage, yes, fine. Send them but it just, to me, it just feels like such a waste of things. Now, in this situation, it's actionable reports that are getting emailed out. I understand this one. The other one another use case that I have a lot of hard time with is send me the Excel file, send me the table of data every Monday on this stuff. And 100%. That way, and then when you take that out and go do a bunch of more analysis with it, that's also something I'm like, gosh, this doesn't seem efficient. I should just give you the semantic model and let you see the data. Anyways, just side notes.
That's a good point. This is not, and for me, for once, this is not that Excel file situation. And I agree with you. I would
agree.
But again, let's put ourselves, and you worked with salespeople too. My first 2 gigs were devoted to the sales team, the sales department. So you know what they would rather have? Play that ring sound that we've been doing when we have guests, because they would rather a phone call with their data than they would an email. But these people live on Outlook. And again, it's, as much as I've talked about when we've talked about adoption, I want to bring people to the platform. I want to bring people the data culture, right? We talk about that all the time. There's also that situation too, unfortunately, where you got to meet people where they're at. And for a lot of these people, especially sales reps, they probably live in email. Now, does that excuse this? Maybe, actually, potentially.
Will it change, though? Do you want them to live in email? My other argument, so email is nice because you can talk to anyone, anywhere, just as long as you have the address, you can then communicate with them.
Right.
But then I'd also argue, is that the right medium on which we're going to talk to our customers? Will that be the medium moving forward in the next wave of sales teams?
Yeah. What would a sales manager say? Are they meeting their quota? Great. Then that works.
Well, I look at it a lot now. I interact most with my customers, and if you want my response or a quicker response on things, it's Teams. And so most of my customers, I try and wire up Teams, and I can directly talk to their teams, and they can talk directly to me and my teams. And if I can't do it initially, when we're onboarding or getting set up, we typically have them add our organization. Now, again, granted, that doesn't happen in all situations.
I'm the same with you. Yeah.
Doesn't happen everywhere, but I find, me personally, I think there's a new wave of employees coming into the world here that are going to be less motivated around email. They're going to be more motivated around, Teams, chatting, real-time interactions, applications that are communicating directly with your customers.
Well, and let's dive into that a little more, actually, because honestly, you want to talk about the new wave of people, their email that they're looking at is not even on their computer. And this is, I think, the trend that we're going into. The 2 trends that I see is the device that people are preferred to look at email, communicate, and what they're doing on those devices. It's their phone. One of my sister's cousin, who's a big sales rep, does a lot of sales, actually meet to different places in Chicago.
Sales teams are always on their phone.
Yeah, he's 7 hours out of the day, I'm on my phone. The other hour, I'm on my computer because I have to be. But the 7 hours when I'm talking to people, it's on his phone. So, and you can install Power BI on the device, but let's be honest right now. Let's be honest. Unless you're building mobile devoted reports and not the mobile version of the report, I'm talking about what you've done before. That
just a little bit wider, a little bit narrower screen, maybe a bit longer.
It's not the mobile thing. It's literally I create the page that way.
Yes.
It's not the best. It's not the ideal experience. It will show your data, but again, my goal at the end of the day, if I'm a data analyst, a business intelligence director, or a consultant, my goal for an organization is to deliver and to make sure that the data is actionable from top down. in whatever capacity that is. And if I'm trying to bring people to Power BI for the sake of bringing them to Power BI, I think I'm missing the mark. Now, the numbers look great if we have our usage analytics because, oh, look at all these people, the increase of numbers into the platform. But if these people are immediately acting and we know we're saving time, we've already done the use case that we're saving time here. For me, I have achieved my goal, especially for these sales reps. Now we can have a conversation on what can we expedite or be more efficient in this process. Would you rather a power app or an application that rather than going to the report? But my goal is, however the data is coming in, whatever that medium's in, that the people are responsible and own what they own and can act on what they should act on. And for me, the email is a great medium. And I say this when I, again, don't edit this part and put that in a short. Email is a great medium because
I'm definitely adding
that. Yeah, I know.
Tommy says leave Power BI. Newsflash.
Yeah, I know. YouTube.
Tommy says leave Power BI. Go back to email. It's the only way to do your work nowadays. So much more efficient.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had to even come back to Outlook, my friend, because let's be honest, 9 out of 10 times, email subscriptions are probably not the way. But let's also look on the other side of the coin. We still see emails or blog articles and documentation from Microsoft investing in subscriptions. Do you know why? Because this is still part of the process. Just like Excel is going to exist, data and information in Outlook's going to exist. I've always said when I worked with companies, like, my goal is the first thing people do in the morning is they check their email and they check the letters in the order that they're in to help them direct what they're going to do, a sentence. The next thing they're going to do, they're going to check Power BI. And the next, they're going to check the order those numbers are in, and that's going to cause them to do their second action. That should be the goal of every person working in business intelligence.
No,
at the end of the day,
I'm going to disagree with you there.
Okay,
not email. Email is not the first place you look.
For most people, really.
I'm going to argue email is not. My calendar is the first place I look. I mean, even now, Teams and calendar are the first things I look. I go to Teams and make sure there's no messages there. I almost don't. I mean, there'll be times I don't touch my email until like noon.
And I've been burnt by that too.
And that's just how
I'm listening. Yeah,
but that's just how I work. I mean, that's how again, going back to like, where are my immediate issues? Where are the things I need to be talking to? Like, I'm leading teams of people, and we're all on team. So I understand your comment there, but more and more my medium, I less and less prefer email. I prefer more and more other things.
Right.
So I'm going to disagree with you on that point. I don't think
that's fine. Let's say
I think that's just, I'm just going to say, I think starting your day in email is probably a good thing for most people because that's the main thing that most people have access or information to. But I think this is beginning to change. And I think messaging is becoming the first place people need to land. And then they're going to email when they want.
I think regardless of the situation, and yes, I know Power BI is an app in Teams, and I'm aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is part of, like, we have to dumb things down. And at the end, as frustrating as this is for me to say, because I hate saying this because it's almost like giving up a little. Yeah. It's almost too hard for people to say, just click on the Power BI icon and go to this report when they're in the thread or when they're in their inbox kind of thing. Like, I know it sounds so dumb to say or so simple to just click on that Power BI app. It's right there. We've developed the channel, the tab. It's right there. It's so easy. But people don't think like that. There's a lot of people still, and they're going to be always people who are technology adverse because the technology is always changing quicker. So to me, whether you're sending a message in Teams that has your Power BI report or it's an email message in your inbox, whichever medium you want to put it in, people can be technology adverse, and sometimes we have to meet those talented people where they're at with technology because these are talented people. And Mike, I hate saying this. I want to make sure that I'm emphasizing it's unfortunate that I even have to say this because you think most people, if you're talented, you should adapt with technology. But that's not the case. And that's been the experience I've seen over and over again, whatever the technology was. Right. And I'm not just talking about today in 2025. I'm saying this when it was 2015 when I started. Well, how people who were meant to be analysts didn't know how to work in Excel and didn't like it. And that's just the way it was. And yeah, you can say what you want about the type of employee we are, but this is the people side of it. This is the people side of the people process technology. And you can say that we can just dismiss them. You know, you and I can, but a lot of employees can't, because these people probably provide some valuable contribution. So I know this is a bit subjective here, and I know we just want to dismiss these people as not getting with it, but there's also a hard argument here, Mike, that you can't argue that this is not the case everywhere.
Yeah. So let me retool a bit more of the question here. What's going on here, right? So I'm going to make a couple assumptions, and then I'm going to kind of start from those assumptions. I'm going to assume that this sales team, whoever they may be, it says there's about a dozen people who are responsible for updating the sales tool if things change, right? Again, I'm going to go back to, why would I slow down my process to every Monday as opposed to just building the report and telling people to go there, or sending them an email and pushing them to the report? Like, the subscription's fine, but maybe I'm thinking about things two different ways, right? So I'm looking at this going, I feel like there's some event-driven notifications that should be sent out here as opposed to this. So at the end of the day, regardless of what happens here, you know, we have metric sets, we have things that can be notified. People can be notified when something changes in the data set or the semantic model. So that, to me, a better way of looking at this problem should be on whatever sales dashboard I have, whatever that may be, right? My assumption is, what is the report that these people are working out off of every single day? My sales report, my revenue report, whatever. I guarantee you there's a handful of reports that are being used every single day by teams in order to make sure that we're meeting our sales quota, our objectives, those things as well. That's where I'd be putting this information, right? I'm not looking at this trying to build a separate process that is emailing people a file, a form, all the instructions, everything that's described here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I have an automated subscription that sends them this report every Monday. Great. I don't like that. What I'd rather have is, here are the reports that we have already today, or here are the apps that we already have today. I'm going to build a single report that lives inside that app. And that way, whenever we go in there, the home page of every app that people interact with has the health status, right? There's a health status area, and there is, it gives them the number. There are no disjointed records between the contacts and the people who've departed for sales. Great, move on. The status dashboard has the information, you can move on. When there is a status issue, you make the red button, warning, update records required, and you click that card, it takes you to the page. Again, it has the instructions on it, has the links. All of this can live in a real-time report, and you just put this report closer to where people are doing their work. And so, to me, instead of emailing people stuff, you should incorporate these things in an app, whatever you're distributing to these customers, and that should be just part of the solution. To me, that makes the most sense. Because now it's real time. I don't need to send out emails. And if you feel like you need notifications, go use metric sets that say we should have 0 mismatched accounts. And anytime there's not a mismatched account, send an email. So every time the data set refreshes, it's checking to see if that number is 0. And if it doesn't, then send out the email and say, hey, there's a mismatch. Here's the link to the report. Click the link to the report. It takes you into the report. You may go there.
Mike, I love where you're going with this, because this is where I'm going to align with you. And I'm going to contradict probably what I just said. However, you're talking about a theory, an economic theory, actually. One of my favorite books I ever read is called Nudge by Richard Taylor.
You've talked about this a number of times already. I got to read this because you've said it
so
multiple times.
It's Mike, you will love this. Instead of us playing video games, I think books are probably, that's the age we're at now, probably. But
I'll get us like a podcast or something like that I can listen to being read to me, like when I go on a long trip.
Seriously, read the ebook or listen to the audible of it. But the idea here and what you're speaking to is exactly how I would change people's behaviors. And so I love what you're saying here. And just a background on the book Nudge, they did a study and they realized that all these kids in a elementary school were eating a bunch of desserts. So this guy came in and he's like, well, we're just changing where the desserts are. And all they did was simply move. They didn't tell the kids what to do, but they just changed where the salad bar is and where the dessert bar was when people walked in. And immediately they saw the uptick on the kids not taking as much of the cookies and they were taking more of the vegetables. And that's where the inventory was going just by changing things around. So Mike, this is exactly where I think I'm going to lean with you here. The email can be a great behavior, but but we have all this other technology and we can make this even more efficient with a minimal cost.
Yes.
Which this is where I'll lean with you. So yeah, it is. Is it efficient now? Great. Can it be more? Absolutely. And it's easy. It should be easy enough to say, hey, on October 1st, we are no longer sending the email subscription. Bookmark this link. It's a bookmark. If you can't do that, you probably shouldn't have a job. And that's where I'll be a little, seriously.
Not even that. I would even give them the friction of making a bookmark. To your point, Tommy, I would put this in every single thing else that we're delivering, right? So I'm hoping, again, this is my assumption, when I'm rolling out reports to a sales team, typically I'm giving out apps. Typically I'm giving links to reports. I'm sharing things through a workspace.
However it is.
Yeah, and that works in Power BI. It also works inside Fabric. And so even in the Power BI realm, I have the ability of metric sets. I have the ability of having KPIs there, and then I can set up a semantic model that has the checks that I need. Right. And then when this item hits an alert, I can then immediately on refresh of the semantic model, send out the alert. The alert emails the people you need and says, go to this report. And again, my landing position of everything we're doing here is not a printed report that we're emailing to people. I think it's a waste. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste on your email server. It just takes up space. And then people have to delete them or they put them somewhere else. And which one is it? There's no valid reason why you need to be emailing people data, because as soon as you email them data, that data becomes stale. It's not real anymore. It's not active. And so there's just so many things that I'm like, it creates friction I think you don't want to have.
Now, I don't want to bring this up, but I agree with that to a point. But then in back of my head, I'm like, well, go tell Jamie Dimon that, because he still prefers the printed out reports. And this guy has done a great job at Chase.
Yes, up until this point, but like, is that? I mean,
let's call Jamie ourselves, me and you and me.
Who are the financial markets clamoring for now? They're now clamoring after new technologies. They're now clamoring off of cryptocurrencies. The world's changing very quickly now, and the banking industry, the crypto industry is now getting a big push for all this digital space. I'm convinced, like Tommy, these banks are around, but like they're not. They've been around and they've been doing well the way they. Whether or not you want it on a printed report. Yeah, that's just preference at this point, or you want it digitally. At the end of the day, what's really happening is there are 4 or 5 key metrics they're looking at. They need them consolidated down to a single something to go do their, whether it's on a medium of digital things or not digital things, does not matter.
I will bet you a stake on the choice of your currency.
Like, I don't think, I mean, I don't really think, yes, banks are probably one of the slowest, most backwards companies I've ever worked with. They are on old technology. Yeah. They're running old servers. Everything's on-prem. They're not willing to go to the cloud. Like, if anything is ripe for change, and again, security has to be paramount. It's banking industry. Like, and so to me, this is like, that is the most backwards industry I've been in or experienced, because I'm like, they're so risk adverse. And that's why banks cost so much money. And I think this is also one of their industries that is going to be ripe for disruption here in the near future, because cryptocurrencies don't need all that infrastructure. Cryptocurrencies are built on like a public ledger. Cryptocurrencies are built on this new world. So there's a whole new world of financial stuff evolving here. And they're not even touching it yet. So I wouldn't even use, and again, I'm not trying to like discredit Jamie Dimon and Chase and the banking industry in general, but I'm just saying of the things that I'm looking for that's forward thinking, I'm not thinking that direction. I'm looking at more like modern solutions. And I think we're just going to, I think me personally, I'm going to just push for real-time actionable data. And how do I present it back in my existing reports instead of emailing things?
Listen, with the bank thing, the reason I jumped into consulting, because when I heard some stories, I'm like, oh, I'll have a job forever. Multinational banks are dealing with this in the stories I heard. But the point was, there are companies still deal with this. But I want to get back to your point, because I think that was a little too far left, so to speak. But I think the idea here, Mike, is, and where I'm leaning with you, is, can we change people's behaviors just because they enjoy something and they're used to something? Again, I don't want to do something for the sake of just because it should be done, right? Like, if we're going to make this push to getting people off of email subscription and getting people off of what we're doing, well, then it has to be a better experience and it has to provide better value than it does now. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. Now, that being said, there are multiple cases, and the excuses that even I said at the beginning about, well, you know, these salespeople, they're used to phone calls and email. Great. Well, they're used to a browser too, and they use the web, and they use a laptop. Right.
But that's looking at your sales team the way it is today.
Exactly.
Are we going to assume that all of our, Gen Zers or whatever, or whatever the age group that is that sales team, right? Is that going to continue to be having the same thing? Are you never going to hire a new younger salesperson? Are they going to expect different technologies? Is it getting easier for me to build these things? This is where I'm going to kind of like challenge a bit here and say, look, things are going to be changing. It's going to be shifting. And I would always encourage a business to, I think, let me just step back real quick. Big picture. In general, if you don't push your team to move on to more modern tech pieces, modern ways of thinking, modern pieces, I think that department or that team is almost a little bit of a detriment. Like, some people just need to move on. Some people will be able to learn and adapt, but to say that your team can't learn a Power BI report or a couple different clicks or a different interaction, a different process, I think is a very poor way of looking at your team. I really want to encourage any teams that I'm working with to be like continually learning. We're going to be adapting. The only thing that is consistent is change. And so if you're going to come into a job and a role and think you're going to learn this one thing and you're going to just stay there and never change a thing, I'm going to argue like that's already a crippling mindset.
Yeah.
Just the mental thinking, the mindset in that department is already putting you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, we don't live in the world of IBM anymore where you stay anywhere for 50 years and you're doing the same thing. But to your point also, let's make an assumption too. You there are a few assumptions you made, but I'm going to make one as well. This is not the only data the sales team has, or obviously this company has. And I guarantee you, to your point, this may be a great example, but I guarantee you there's a lot of other barriers that team has to either act or own their data. And I won't even say the word insights here, just act and own. To your point, if we can not only build this within an app or a centralized place, but build this in a place with the other data that they have to act and own on, we will be more efficient. So it's funny.
The point. There's the point. So that, to me, it's like, if we're looking at just the Power BI realm, data flows, incremental refreshes, semantic models, and metric sets, that's basically all you get. Right. That is the circle of what we had to play with. As soon as you add Fabric, you can add a whole bunch more things. And so the barrier to like, okay, again, if I'm going back to this question again, there's two systems that do not talk to each other, and someone needs to do something in one or the other system to make it work. Once we get to Fabric, we have data functions, API calls, changing data, real-time actions, like which we say data platform, but I truly believe Fabric becomes the data platform. Like you can do real-time data right next to actionable data, right next to like the SQL servers exist. You can have transactional data next to operational data. Like everything can work inside Fabric. And so when I look at this question, it makes me think if they're only in Power BI and they've limited the ability of what they can do based on what they know in Power BI. As soon as you move to Fabric, there's barriers that are described here that I think go away. You can do real-time actions on demand. And to go back to this point here, right? The reason this automated reporting shows up is because someone has to have instructions and they need to update a name. That easy. So if going into a different system is that easy, my question would go back to is, okay, is this other system that people need to click into, is there an API we can access? Is there something I can do programmatically? So the thinking would be is, if this is in fact true, build an experience inside your existing reporting where you can just solve the problem all in one spot. And so to me, I look at this going, that's what I'm looking for, right? I want to build this round robin experience. I don't want, to your point, Tommy, people don't want to leave different programs. They don't want to keep jumping around different websites. They get lost. There's too many things. It gets confusing. I get that. I was in a job where we had like network drives and everything was stored all over the place. And like you could never find anything, right? That's a challenge. So back to this person's question here is, what can we do to build a more self-contained system where we're detecting changes, we're notifying people about issues, and that becomes the actionable area. And this is what Microsoft wants Fabric to be. It's not just a place where you're looking at BI insights as an output. You're also interacting and making changes and fixing things right inside the system.
Mike, the more I think about this, and I think we're realizing something here too. We're coming to a conclusion. What are we doing if we're just on Power BI still? And I know a lot of organizations are still hesitant. And this is going to be my closing thought here too. The email subscription has played a great place for situations, especially around Power BI.
Sure.
But if you're an organization and you're on the fence around Fabric, it's time to get off the seat. Because even for me now, Mike, I maybe was more hesitant than most around Fabric because I'm like, you know what, Power BI can still be it. If someone offered me a job right now and it was just around Power BI, I would say no, because we are so far ahead of that.
It's short-sighted now.
It's not even short. It's short-sighted, but it's so much more than that. We are playing a different game now, and what we have available to us, not just because it's available to us, but what it can provide to an organization, what I have in my arsenal, or what an organization can have in their tool belt to make people act, own, and have insights on their data is insane compared to what was just limited to Power BI. Power BI is still an incredible part of this, but let's not be mistaken. It is now just a part. It is a cog in the machine of what's possible.
I would agree that. So I would, this is where I'm going to echo, knowing I've been tainted. Let's say it that way. I've been tainted. The fact that I know what Fabric can do, and I do a lot of work around what it should be able to be capable of. A lot of these remedial things is like, okay, a lot of my questions are why? Why do we do it this way? What's the importance of it? Do we really need something to be emailed? Now, I'm still, even after this conversation, great example. I think this is a really good example. I'm not trying to poo-poo this idea or example. I think this is a great example. I think it's you found something that works in your system. Whatever you're using, it sounds like you're using just purely Power BI. Great. It works for you. Keep doing it. That's fine. But what I would also argue is this, to me, emailing things or emailing data or reports or things that are supposed to be actionable to people, it's a good way of transitioning from the BI team to someone else who needs to take responsibility.
I like that a lot.
I think this is the email in this example here is the medium by which you're transitioning things. It still has not convinced me that this is something I need to do. I'm still not going to encourage businesses to send out emails. I still don't think this is a solid enough of a use case. And now what I know about Fabric and being tainted, I now know there's also better ways. So at the end of the day, I like this question. I think it's a very good use case. I think you found a really good process. Commend you on the things you've gotten to.
Yeah.
But I still don't think I'm convinced that emailing or having subscriptions to stuff, data, things, objects, it still hasn't convinced me. I'm still going to push for figure out how to make the Power BI data app do all the things you need. And with Fabric, you have more capability than you ever have had before. And you can do more real-time updating things, sending stuff, talking to APIs. It is so much more capable than it ever has been before.
Yeah. Mike, where on earth, and I know this is going to toot our own horn here, but where on earth can you find an hour, listener, talking about email subscriptions in Power BI? I don't know. And I love it. This gets me. I don't need coffee when we have these conversations. This is about email subscriptions. Shouldn't even be that entertaining.
Let's even go forward with that. I mean, it's even like how much of your organization still runs on SSRS reporting.
Don't get started on
that's another whole realm. Like, this is the same thing I'm talking about, though. Like it's in to me.
Play MS-DOS games. Yeah,
this is in the same bucket. Like we're still doing a lot of these like static print-outable report. Like, and sometimes you need things like that. Like I do think there are times when you need PDFs of things to send to like customers or vendors or somewhere else. But as I look at this, I'm seeing there's a much better, more modern way to address these SSRS paginated 100%. Like chunks of reporting. All right. With 100%. That being said, let's go ahead and wrap here. Thank you all for listening to the episode. I thought it was going to be a short one, but actually it was a full-time one. So that's good. Thank you all for participating. Hopefully you got some insights around this one. Hope you enjoyed our use case around subscriptions. Let us know in the comments. Are you convinced? Should people still be using subscriptions, or should we be building better solutions with data applications built inside Fabric? Let me know. Let us know in the description below. If there are any other use cases, feel free to send us another mailbag. Maybe we'll pick up your topic, and I doubt you're going to convince me, but keep going. Like maybe someone will get a use case here that I need. Okay. That being said, thank you all so much for participating. If you'd like to, make sure you become a member of our YouTube channel. We'll have more of these episodes. You can get them as soon as they're recorded. We'll publish them out immediately. And then also stay tuned. There's going to be more information coming from Power BI tips around learning and educating on Fabric and things as well. Tommy, where else can you find the podcast?
You can find us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to subscribe and leave a rating. It helps us out a ton. Share with a friend since we do it for free. Say, hey, these guys actually argue about email subscriptions and it's kind of mildly entertaining. That's us. Do you have a question, idea, or topic that you want us to talk about in a future episode? Head over to powerbi.tips/podcast. Leave your name and a great question. And finally, join us live every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 a.m. Central, and join the conversation on all of powerbi.tips social media channels.
Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.